You've Changed by Sam Sexton. Exterior, misty woodland forest, night. The light of the full moon shines through the misty woodland forest, creating eerie silhouettes of trees. A lone hare is foraging in the grass for food. Suddenly it stops and looks around, sensing that something is out there. A twig snaps and the hare takes flight. A hairy and naked man, Leon, running on all fours at speeds that are impossible for a human, takes off after the hare. Interior, Alice's car at night. Alice is driving home along the highway. She is early to mid-30s, and while she is not overweight, she does have a certain robustness about her. She's dressed in a nursing uniform with a fob watch pinned to her shirt. It has been a long shift, and she has bags under her eyes. The mindless chitter-chatter of late-night talkback radio is keeping her company. Tonight's topic is the ice methamphetamine epidemic that is facing rural Australia. The people talking are a community mental health worker called Catherine Field and the radio host called Barry.
Look, are we talking about the same thing here?
These people, as you insist on calling them, they're ripping up the place. They are animals.
I really don't think that is a helpful approach to dealing with the problem.
I'm going to open up the line now, so if you have any questions for Catherine concerning the ice epidemic, or if you have been affected in some way by it, please share your story. Our first caller is Vince. Hello, Vince. Have you or someone you know been affected by ice?
Hi, yeah, a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you for your support, Vince.
Exterior, farmland at night. The chase ensues as Leon pursues the hare as it zigzags out of the forest and into the surrounding farmland. The hare stops dead for a moment, hiding under a bush. It is barely breathing. Leon, still on all fours, sniffs around, following the hare's scent. He pushes back the bush, making a grab for the hare, but it flees just in time. Interior, Alice's car at night. Alice rolls her eyes at the inane phone calls coming into the station.
Really, this problem is a spiritual one.
Spiritual? It's a basic question of IQ if you ask me. People who take ice are bloody morons, and I don't see why the government or the council should be paying for their addiction. Cut them off, I say.
Alice gets sick of listening to callers whining about things they know nothing about and changes the station. Exterior, farmland, night. The chase ensues across fields of sleeping cows. Around a farmhouse, a few dogs are pulling on their chains and barking as Leon and the hare pass. Somehow Leon is gaining on the hare as they run up the driveway and out onto the main road. Finally, Leon grabs the hare and crushes its neck in his mouth. Interior, Alice's car at night. Alice yawns. There is a yelp and a crash as Alice hits something. She then feels two bumps as she drives over whatever it is she hit.
Shit!
Alice stops the car and gets out. Exterior, country road at night. Lying on the road is Leon. He is bloody, has broken bones, and obvious tire marks on his body. Adrenaline kicks in, and Alice is now in emergency mode, running over to Leon and checking on his vital signs. He is still breathing, but only just. He still has the hair in his mouth. Alice takes out her mobile phone and starts dialing.
Hi, I've just hit someone and I need an ambulance. And maybe the police?
Alice then goes back to the car and turns on the hazard warning lights. She then sits down next to Leon and waits for the ambulance. Exterior, country road, night. The paramedics, Dave and Jeff, are putting Leon onto a stretcher. Alice is giving a statement to the police who are attending the scene. At the same time, she is directing the paramedics. Despite having just had an accident, she is very much in control of the situation.
This is your current address?
No, I just moved here.
You need to update your license.
I know.
So you were just driving home,
Yes.
and he just ran out in front of you?
I didn't see him at all, just a bump. I stopped the car and there he was on the ground.
You haven't moved him?
No, officer, he was breathing, so I thought it best to leave him.
Police officer 2 comes up to Alice with a breathalyzer.
Just breathe into this until I tell you to stop.
Alice breathes into the breathalyzer.
Have you had anything to drink this evening?
I've been on shift. All I've had to drink tonight is tea, coffee, and water.
Have you taken any drugs tonight, madam?
No, I haven't.
Open your mouth for a moment. I'm going to take a swab.
Alice opens her mouth and allows police officer 2 to take the swab.
Look at my uniform. I'm a nurse. I've been on the shift and I haven't taken any drugs.
Well, you're free to go. Just make sure you update your details.
Jeff and Dave have finished putting Leon into the ambulance. Alice calls out to them.
I'm gonna follow you.
Alice gets into her car. Interior, Alice's car at night. Alice starts the engine and then gets out her phone and selects Brad from the contact list. The number starts ringing over the car's Bluetooth. Brad picks up.
Hello.
Hey, it's me. Something has just come up and I'm gonna be home late.
Sweet. More time for blackjack and hookers.
Brad, you know I don't like jokes like that.
I'm sorry, sweetheart.
You will be.
Alice hangs up. Interior, Alice's car. Flashback, day. Alice and Brad are driving through the same countryside, only it is daytime. Brad is taller than Alice and also in his 30s. He is dressed in a casual way that wouldn't look out of place in a library, a coffee shop, or a nightclub. The car is packed full of various bits and pieces that they either didn't want to put in the moving truck or they needed with them. Music is quietly playing in the background at a volume that allows them to talk easily.
Yes, this is the right decision.
Really? I don't want you to get bored.
I'll have time to write. I mean, really write and really get into the meat of it. If that fails, there's always the pub.
I expect the house to be unpacked and cleaned before you go there.
I'm a writer. I need inspiration.
You don't need that much inspiration. We also won't have as much money as we did.
Exterior, outside Alice and Brad's house. Flashback, day. Alice and Brad pull into a long driveway which is lined with trees. At the end is a cute wooden house. They park the car and get out. Alice and Brad stand for a moment looking at the house and hug.
I still can't believe that this is ours, Brad.
You'd better get used to it.
Can we get a dog now?
Brad ignores this and opens up the boot of the car. Interior, living room. Flashback, day. Inside the house is cute, bare, and just a bit dated. Alice opens the front door, enters, and starts opening the windows. Brad comes in carrying a box, which he places somewhere out of the way. Alice is looking up at a small doorway that seems to be in the ceiling. Brad comes up behind her and holds her.
What do you think this door is for?
Apparently it's a loft.
How do you know that?
I asked the agent.
Ah.
Yes.
Brad then starts to nibble on Alice's ear. Alice then turns and they kiss. They start running their hands over each other. They work their way down to the floor. There's a nervous knock on the open door. Alice and Brad stop what they're doing, look up and see Gloria, 50s, graying and dressed somewhere between a nun and a hippie. She is framed in the doorway holding a dish covered in tinfoil. Alice gets up and goes over to greet Gloria.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry, we didn't expect to have visitors quite so soon.
I knew you were moving in today, and I didn't think you would have time for anything else, so I made you something to eat.
That's very kind of you.
Gloria hands Alice the dish, who in turn hands it to Brad. Brad takes a peek under the tinfoil.
It's a vegetarian pasta bake with soy cheese and buckwheat pasta.
Buckwheat pasta and soy cheese. My favorite.
I'm Gloria, by the way. I run the local store.
It's lovely to meet you, Gloria. I'm Alice, and this is Brad.
I'm sure you have lots to do with moving in and all, so I'll leave you. But if you need anything, feel free to stop by the store. And just bring the dish over to the Gap View Hotel when you're done.
Thank you, Gloria. It's lovely to meet you.
Gloria leaves. Brad lifts the foil in the dish and has a sniff. He shudders and then hands it to Alice, who also sniffs it and then shakes her head.
We have met the neighbors.
We have.
Where should we put this? Fridge isn't coming until this afternoon.
Are you really planning on eating it?
It has soy cheese.
I need to get ready.
Couldn't you call in sick?
It's my first day.
Interior, ambulance, night. Jeff is driving and Dave is in the back keeping an eye on Leon, who's been hooked up to an IV drip and is covered with a blanket. Leon still holds onto the hair in his teeth. The hair's blood is oozing out over the ambulance floor. Dave puts on gloves and tries to remove the hair. As he does so, Leon grabs Dave's throat. Dave hands back the hair and Leon lets go of his throat. Interior, emergency ward, night. The emergency ward is bustling with activity in one half of the room. The other half is really just a large waiting room, without normal niceties of a doctor's surgery. Adjacent to the main door is a reception window, behind which sits a triage nurse, Rita. She is tapping at a computer as a man complains to her about the time it is taking to see his wife.
I'll be writing to my MP about this.
Please, sir, I understand that your wife needs treatment, and we will get to her as soon as we can. The best thing to do is just be with her.
2 hours we've been here. When is someone going to come and see my wife?
There is nothing that I can do, but we'll get to her as soon as we can.
This is just not fucking good enough. Who are you to be playing fucking God with my wife?
The man goes and sits down next to his wife. Exterior, ambulance bay, night. The ambulance and Alice pull up outside of Warwick Hospital Emergency Department. Jeff and Dave take Leon out of the ambulance on his stretcher. The inside of the ambulance is a mess and covered in blood. Leon has been restrained and Dave has scratches on his face. Somehow Leon is still clinging to the hair.
Cross Victor!
Dave and Jeff wheel Leon into the emergency department. Interior, emergency waiting room, night. Inside of the emergency waiting room, there's a commotion as Jeff and David wheel Leon into the waiting area with Alice in tow. Ricky and John, two security guards, take over from Jeff and Dave. Leon is still fading in and out of consciousness and is still carrying the hair. Only now he is sweating profusely. Alice approaches Rita.
Watch this one. I think he might be high.
You're on call.
Yes,
Consider this your call.
thanks.
You might want to patch him up as well, or don't city nurses do that?
Alice ignores this and follows the security guards out of the room.